Good morning, Madam Chair. Great to see you and the members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. I am here today in front of you in relation to supporting House Bill 5387. And I am just very grateful, first off, for the committee raising this bill. I have come before you a number of years in our work to close the wage gap and support so many workers and families across the state. I'm very pleased to see this. And I think generally, I just wanted to comment that I know it sometimes can seem like a topic, why are we continuously talking about the wage gap in our state? And the reason this is so pivotal is that here in Connecticut, we know from our census data that women working full-time year-round are still only making 83 cents to the dollar of men. And sadly, in our country, in the last 2 years, the wage gap has expanded, which really puts on us as a legislature, what more could we be doing? And when we think about the impact of the wage gap in the day-to-day lives of our constituents, it really comes through in what dollars they have to support themselves, to support their families, to pay off student loan debt, and to spend that money in our local economy. And, as a state, we have definitely made progress, over the last few years in closing the wage gap. But according to the latest data, Connecticut is 22nd in the country right now with our wage gap. And so I know we like to think much higher of ourselves than 22nd. And this is why this approach with this House bill is one more thing we can do to close the wage gap. I just wanted to comment personally for me as to why this has been a passion of mine for now decades. I will tell you that as a young woman graduating from UConn here in the state of Connecticut, when I first went out in the workforce, it was the first time that I started to understand what the wage gap was. And I started to understand that for myself, I didn't have a true understanding of salary negotiation, of the circumstances that would really set me up potentially for earning less than my male colleagues right out of college. And so for many years, I actually trained other women on salary negotiation as a tool in this toolbox of addressing the wage gap. But I soon learned that, that was just one of the pieces that was so needed to close this gap. And salary negotiation is only effective if you actually might have a sense or know what salary you were negotiating. And that's why in 2021, when we passed legislation here in the state, we actually passed legislation around the disclosure of salary ranges. But the issue I can tell you in speaking with young people today is that they often don't know that they can ask for that salary range. And that's why I really truly think that as Connecticut, we can step up like many other states have to make sure that those salary ranges are available. Since I last testified on this, we have even more states. So now New York, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Maryland, Illinois, Colorado, Hawaii, Minnesota, California, and Washington have all passed laws requiring the salary ranges for job positions. And I can tell you also, for myself as an employer, I voluntarily use salary ranges because they are so effective at making sure that you are a good fit and matching with what that potential employee wants and needs. And we know from the data that many folks in the workforce right now are looking for that type of information to make sure that this is a right fit for them and the economic circumstances of their family. I will be submitting testimony to you all in writing as well, because again, I really appreciate this proposal, but I do have 2 recommendations to the language that I did want to make. One in reference to line 21, to maintain the language of comparable, which is helpful for just the legal framework of the bill. And then secondly, language in lines 81 to 83, referring to alternative methods of recruiting. This is important, I would say, to remove from the bill because there are examples in other states who have passed this similar legislation where employers are using this language around alternative methods to get around posting the salary range. So for instance, they're using third-party sites that they're considering an alternative method, or they are using AI and individual messages to potential employees to get around the requirement. But again, I thoroughly thank you for raising this. And for me personally, I certainly hope this is one step forward we can take to make fairer wages for so many of our women across the state and make sure that they have the economic stability for their future. So thank you so much, Madam Chair, and to the entire committee.